Hello YouTube, and on today's video I figured I would share with you guys my Nintendo 3DS collection. And some of you guys might remember I did this last year, but the reason why I'm updating this video is because I finally passed 100 3DS games, so I figured I would just share with you guys what I've added to the collection since last year. But yeah, so first up, Super Monkey Ball 3D. This is a launch title for the 3DS, and it was pretty good. Not bad. I know Monkey Ball fans don't really like games outside of the first two, but I liked it for the most part. Dr. Lautrec in the Forgotten Knights. This is a lot like a Professor Layton clone, but it has some unique ideas of its own. I quite like it. It's pretty good. Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King. Dragon Quest VIII, one of the best RPGs of all time, so having it on 3DS wherever you go, pretty great in my opinion. The only real downfall is that this doesn't use the orchestral soundtrack. It uses MIDI covers for some reason. Steel Diver, I feel like Steel Diver doesn't get enough credit. It's, at the bare minimum, one of the most unique 3DS launch titles. I don't know. I just like the way how it uses the gyroscope and everything. Lego Star Wars 3, another launch title. It's okay. Heroes of Ruin. This is a pretty fun little Diablo clone. I remember back in the day I was super hyped for it, and I never got it back then when it actually had people playing online. But nowadays it doesn't have that, so yeah, it's Heroes of Ruin. It's pretty good. RPG Maker Fez. I haven't played this yet, but I really hope there's a way how to play over people's RPGs. Cold Cap Revolt. Again, I haven't played this one yet. It's still factory sealed. Ever Oasis. This is a very mixed action RPG. I got this because it was made by the same guy who made Secret of Mana. And, it just never clicked. I got like 4 hours in. The first 2 hours of the game are just like sitting through text, and this game has such a podunk story. Yeah, this game just never clicked for me. Conception 2. I really like this. This is a fun little turn-based RPG, a lot like a Persona or, games of that nature. Yeah, I really like it. I recommend it. Transformers Prime, the game. Really recommend this. This is a really fun little action-adventure game. Kind of like, just, I don't know, any generic action game you've played in the last, 10 years, but surprisingly fun. Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. I haven't played this yet, but I have played this game on the Nintendo DS, and the DS version was incredible, so I can't wait to play this one all over again. I really liked this game back when I played it back in the day. Ace Combat Assault Horizon Legacy Plus. Not really my thing. It was okay, but it wasn't something I'm particularly fond of. Code of Princess. This is a pretty good little beat 'em up. It's pretty good. I don't know. It just wasn't. It didn't click with me very much. Seventh Dragon 3 Code VFD. I haven't played this yet. I've heard this is a really great RPG for the system. I need to dig into this one soon. I love this box art. I don't know why. It's just so busy, and there's so much going on with it that I love it. Mario Tennis Open. This is one of my favorite 3DS games. I love this game. Just a ton of fun. I love Mario Tennis. Mario Tennis is probably my favorite Mario spin-off game. Mario Tennis always has the right amount of skill, and then just fun game modes to play through, and then interesting characters. Good game. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. This is sealed, but I have this on Switch as well. I double dipped on this. Captain Toad is such a fantastic game. Like, it's just a really fun game. It's not like the best game you're ever going to play or anything, but it's a lot of fun, and that's what matters. Yeah, I love Captain Toad. Love me some Captain Toad. Super Mario Maker for Nintendo 3DS. If you watched my Black Friday video, you know I kind of just called this software. It's really more of a toy to play with because there's no course world bot thing where you can play over people's courses. They do have Mario mode, like 100 Mario mode, but that's it, unfortunately. But, you know, it's Mario Maker. It's what it is. Rayman Origins, not as good as, say, the Vita or the PS3 counterpart, but, you know, a very solid version of the game nonetheless. Of course, there's a lot of compromises and there's some skip levels, but, you know, it's okay. Frogger 3D, it's pretty good, you know. It reminds me a lot of Frogger 2, Swampy's Revenge on Dreamcast, which I did a review of. And, you know, it's pretty good for what it is. Puzzles and Dragon Z. This is pretty good, but it feels like a mobile game in the worst possible way, if that makes sense. It does not feel like a full retail 3DS game. It feels more akin to something I would download on my phone for free. Persona Q2, I haven't played it yet. I've heard it improves greatly on the first one, so. Pokemon X, I really like Pokemon X. I think Pokemon X and Y don't get enough credit as Pokemon games. I really enjoy them. I know they're a bit on the easy side, and I know the stories are a bit forgettable, but I really enjoy them for what they are and what they did for the series. Fossil Fighter Frontier, this is kind of like a Pokemon clone, except the entire game is built around you riding around on buggies, and it was okay. I appreciate them trying something different with Pokemon. Final Fantasy Explorers, this is like a Final Fantasy take on Monster Hunter, and it's pretty good, actually. Not like incredible, but I saw some people listing this as like one of the worst Final Fantasy games, and like, I'm sorry, man, it is not bad. Like, it's a pretty good little game. Dream Trigger 3D, just an incredibly unique experience for the 3DS. Just all around one of the most unique games I've ever played. It's kind of like a shoot 'em up, but it's hard for me to describe. It's like a mix of a shoot 'em up with a rhythm game. It's so bizarre. You have to see gameplay of this game to believe it. Gem Smashers. This is a really great puzzle game with... It's like a puzzle game version of Brick Breaker. And I really like Brick Breaker. This game's a lot of fun. Really recommend checking that one out. And it's super cheap. Centipede Infestation. I haven't played this yet. It's factory sealed. I've wanted this game for a while now, so I finally got it. Battleship. This is actually a surprisingly really solid strategy RPG. I know, like, a game based on that terrible 2010 Battleship movie. But yeah, it's a strategy RPG. Surprisingly good one. I'd check it out. It's really cheap, too. Hometown Story. Now, this is a weird game. It's not as in-depth as I would like it to be, and I would even say it's not as polished as a Harvest Moon game. As you guys can tell from this box art and from here on the back, this was made by the same director as Harvest Moon, but it still has its own charm and everything. In this game, you run a hometown shop and everything, like a mom-and-pop brick-and-mortar store. So it has that going for it, but it just doesn't do enough with it for me. Project X Zone. This is a strategy RPG, but the battle system's kind of like a fighting game's battle system, but not a very in-depth fighting game. But it's pretty good for what it is. I was really surprised by it. Shin Megami Tensei 4, I've only played this for like an hour, and it seemed very unbalanced to me. I don't know, like, I was fighting enemies that were level 5, and I was only level 1. Like, this wasn't the first hour of the game, like my second fight. And I was just sitting there like, oh, okay, this is fair. Yeah, though, so, I don't know. I'm gonna have to come back to this one. Alright, so I'm gonna do a cut so I can grab some more games. I'll be right back. Alright, next up, Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. This is a pretty good little game for what it is. It has some problems. The story is really just irrelevant until the very end of the game, and you know, some of the ideas just aren't very well fleshed out, but I really like the game. Theater Rhythm, Final Fantasy, Curtain Call. One of my 10 favorite 3DS games. This game is so awesome. I love it so much. It's such a great celebration of Final Fantasy. You know, like, I'm normally a dumpster fire at, like, rhythm games, but I really like this game, and I'm actually not too terrible at it. I can play the songs on that game on normal and not get completely destroyed. And my heater's going off, so I'm sorry. Triforce Heroes. This is a game I had in the past that I rebought because it was $5. It's okay. It's very okay by yourself. I've never experienced the multiplayer, which is how that game's meant to be played, but, you know, whatever. A Link Between Worlds, fantastic game. Just really great. It's like an open world game, but it's also not. It's just really fantastic, though. Yeah, I can't recommend this one enough. Dual Pen Sports, a surprisingly really fun take on Wii Sports. Surprisingly really enjoyable. I was very pleasantly surprised by it. And right here, we just have a whole mess of Skylanders. We have Skylanders Giants, SWAT Force, Superchargers, and Spyro's Adventure. I have all these for the collection, rather than as actual games that I want to play. I don't own a Skylanders Portal, so I can't even play them. I have them more so just because I saw them for $1 each, and I was like, well, you know, I'm trying to build a 3DS collection, so might as well grab those ones. Chibi Robo Ziplash. I don't think this game is very bad. I know some people really hate it and everything, but I didn't think it was awful. Like, I thought it was pretty decent, honestly speaking. Tom Clancy Splinter Cell 3D. This is one of 2 Splinter Cell games I have ever played. It was this and Pandora's Tomorrow. And this game just got destroyed by critics. It's a port of Pandora's Tomorrow, ironically enough. And this game just got destroyed by critics, but I don't think it's that bad. I actually thought it was pretty good. My only complaint was that some things are mapped to, like, the touchscreen because the 3DS doesn't have a second analog stick. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. I really like Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. I actually think it's a better game than the first game, which is kind of controversial. A lot of people actually like the first game more than this one, but, you know, whatever. I really like this game. Yokai Watch, which I haven't played yet. I've heard it's okay. I've always wanted to check it out, and I found it for $5 at Five Below, so I figured why not. Resident Evil Revelations, a fantastic game. One of the best, like, graphically speaking, one of the best 3DS games. Just all around a great game. If you have a 3DS, you need to pick that one up. WarioWare Gold, which is a collection of WarioWare minigames. I love WarioWare, so, you know. Super Street Fighter 4, this was a launch game. This is probably actually the best launch 3DS game. It's just a really solid port of Super Street Fighter 4. And surprisingly, this game still has people playing online on it. I was playing it online a couple days ago, funnily enough. Crosswords Plus, not Puss. This is just a collection of just a ton of crossword games. It's crosswords. I can't say anything else about it. One Piece Unlimited World Red, or Unlimited World R. This is actually a really, really enjoyable action-adventure game. I was really surprised. I've never watched One Piece or anything like that, and, you know, I was just really surprised by it. I really liked it. Good game. Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. One of my, like, just absolute favorite games ever. Donkey Kong Country Returns. And to have it wherever I go on the 3DS is just absolutely incredible. And this is probably the best version of this game because it doesn't have any of the forced-in motion controls of the Wii version. So, yeah, just fantastic. Regular Show, Mordecai and Rigby in 8-Bit Land. It's an okay-ish 2D platformer. Adventure Time, The Secret of the Nameless Kingdom. It's very okay. It's kind of like a Link to the Past clone, but it has a lot of problems. It's a very, like, what do I do next game. Cooking Mama 4, Kitchen Magic. Asphalt 3D. This was another launch game. Not too great. Some really bad frame rate drops in that game. And Hyrule Warriors Legends. I love Hyrule Warriors. I mean, I love Zelda, so that's probably not too surprising, but, you know, I just really like it. I would say, though, to just get the Switch version nowadays as opposed to the 3DS version. But, yeah, though, so I'm gonna go grab some more games, and I'll be back after a small cut. Bravely Default. This is another one that I'd say is among my favorite 3DS games. Just a really fantastic RPG, JRPG. Really good characters, interesting story. Just all around a fantastic game. It's funny because this took, like, I don't know, 2 years to come out here in America because Square was, like, really confident this wouldn't sell well. Then it ended up selling, like, 2.5 million copies, which was really awesome. Yeah, just an awesome game all around. Bravely Second, Endware. Better than the first game, actually, like, funnily enough, even though this didn't sell as well or anything like that, but it's not, I don't know why, it's just not as, like, appealing. Like, it's a better game, it's just not as appealing. I don't know why. Nicolis, pencil puzzles, just a ton of, you know, crosswords and Sudoku and stuff like that. Luigi's Mansion, a remake, a very good remake of the GameCube version. It's basically just the GameCube game, but with a couple of extras. Really fun though, like Luigi's Mansion holds up very well. Rodea, the Sky Soldier. Very, very meh game. Freaky Forms Deluxe, one of the most puzzling releases on the 3DS, because this was an eShop game, and then Nintendo gave it a physical release, and it's probably the worst, like, Nintendo-published eShop exclusive game that, I don't know why this got a physical release over something like Dylan's Rolling Western. Just not a very great game. Not bad, just not very great. Face Racers, this is a very kind of interesting kart racer because you take a picture of your face and then that's like the kart. Not very great though. Like, that one feature is honestly like the most noteworthy thing about the game. Crash City Mayhem, this is a pretty fun little kind of like a Burnout clone, but without like the Burnout mode of Burnout. But a lot of like I don't know, inspiration from Burnout. Not bad though. Not bad at all. Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker Pack. This is the first game and the second game. I love the first game. I've never played the second game though. But I love the first game. The first one's one of my more favorite 3DS eShop games. Epic Mickey Power of Illusion. I really like this game. It's a really fun 2D platformer. It's got I love the art style about this game. That's the big thing, is like, I don't know how well that'll show up, but I really love the art style of this game. Yeah, just a really fun game. I really like it. Metroid Samus Returns. Awesome game. I really love this remake. I love the graphic design. I love so much about this game. I 100% picked this game up. Bit Trip Saga, a collection of all the Bit Trip games, well, all the ones up to this point. And it's, you know, it's Bit Trip. I'm not the biggest fan of Bit Trip, but it's Bit Trip. Codename Steam, a pretty interesting release here. It's kind of like a Valkyria Chronicles clone, actually. But you know, people say Nintendo doesn't make new IPs, but, you know, right here was one. Kid Icarus Uprising. This is probably my favorite 3DS game. Just incredible graphics for the system, incredible, a really fun story with really fun characters, and, you know, just a fantastic game all around. Etrian Mystery Dungeon. This is a pretty fun game. You know, it's pretty fun. Legend of Korra, A New Beginning. Skip it. Rune Factory 4. This game's incredible. I love Rune Factory. Yeah, this is just a great game. Pilotwings Resort, another launch game. Not, I don't know, not fantastic, but not bad either. Monster Hunter Generations. It's Monster Hunter. I didn't play this one very much. Generator Rex. Just skip it. Madden Football. So I only have this game for two reasons. One, it's a launch game, and you know, I like to grab my 3DS launch games. And two, at one point this game was selling for like $60, because this game is fairly uncommon. And yeah, though, I've never played it though. I know it's a Madden game, so I know it's football, but I've never played it because I don't really care for football. Brain Age Concentration Training. You know, Brain Age is more of a piece of software to kind of just exercise your, you know, like some of your intelligent skills that you might not use all the time, like for instance like math and reading skills and whatnot. It's weird because people are like, well, you know, Brain Age doesn't make you smarter, and it's like, well, it was never really claimed to make you smarter. I think it's just more along the lines of like a testing tool. Adventure Time, Explore the Dungeon, because I don't know. This is probably the worst Adventure Time on the time game on the 3DS. It's kind of like a dungeon crawler, kind of like a Diablo, but not very interesting. Boulder Dash XL. I just love that name. I've actually never played this. Super Mario 3D Land. This is an incredible game. I love this game. Like, I feel like this game doesn't get enough credit, and I feel like that's because it's on the 3DS. Because, you know, just portable games just always get ignored, in my opinion. I really love this game. I've seriously played through it twice this year already. Yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna go grab some more games, so I'll see you guys after the next cut. Sega 3D Classics Collection. I'm not a big fan, actually, of old school Sega, or like Genesis and stuff like that. Which is funny, because if you know me, you know I'm a massive Dreamcast fanboy. I have a near complete US release list of Dreamcast games. But when it comes to like old Sega, just not a very big fan of it. I think a lot of their games are just cheap, like in terms of design and everything like that. But like, this is not enough games. Okay, it's like 9 games. And then the other problem is, like, 2 of those games are, 2 of the most common Genesis games, Altered Beast and Sonic. Now, granted, their other picks are good because they're, like, very obscure games, like Fantasy Zone 2 and Galaxy Force 2 and Power Drift, these games that really don't get re-released a lot. But, this is just really underwhelming, honestly speaking. Mario & Luigi Dream Team, I didn't like this one. It just never clicked with me. I don't know why. It just never did. Pokemon Rumble Blast, kind of a forbidden fruit, if you will. Like, it's not a very good game, but I very much enjoy it. Spirit Camera, skip it. I didn't like it. Ghost Recon Shadow Wars. This is actually, next to Super Street Fighter 4, this is debatably the best 3DS launch game. A very unsung game. Just a really solid strategy RPG. And, was probably the first good RPG on the 3DS, funnily enough. Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past. I have only played this for like an hour, and this game goes for 100 hours long. Yeah, this was one of those things that I started and played it for a tiny bit, and then I looked up how long the game was, and I said, oh, I'm going to need to commit to this, and I just wasn't in the mood to commit to it. Need to play it some more, though, because I love me some Dragon Quest. Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia. I love this game. This is like such a me game because it's an old school NES, Famicom era RPG, but with some modern design choices and everything like that. And this was just the perfect game for me. This was the first Fire Emblem I ever played, and I really love it. I really like it a lot. Fire Emblem Awakening, I haven't played enough of this. I've only played around 10 hours of it, and I need to play some more, but I really loved what I played of it. This year I've been trying to get more into Fire Emblem, because I played through 3 Houses, and I was like, man, that was one of the best games I've ever played. Cave Story 3D, this is probably the worst version of Cave Story. It's a 3D, port or remake of Cave Story, but it has very muddled graphics, and it just doesn't do Cave Story justice, and there's no option to play with 2D graphics at all. But it has this really cool lenticular cover, which is nice. Crush 3D, a really solid puzzle game. It's like a puzzle platformer, but it's a puzzle game. Really solid, though. I think it would surprise some people a lot. Nano Assault. This is a twin-stick shooter that, unfortunately enough, came out before the circle pad, so you have to use the face buttons, but I still really like it. I still think it's a really fun game. Shinobi, a pretty good 2.5D platformer that, unfortunately enough, though, it's a little too hard for my taste, but, it has this nice reflective foil cover, though. I'm a sucker for foil covers. Tetris Axis. This is actually, I think, my favorite version of Tetris. At the bare minimum, it's the one I've sank the most amount of time in over the years. At one point, I was on the leaderboard for this game, like one of the top 100 players. Pac-Man and Galaga Dimensions. This is another one that, at one point in time, I was a, top player in. Pac-Man Championship, I was a top 100 player in. This is one of the best compilations of all time, in my opinion. Just really solid. Pac-Man and Galaga Dimensions. Really recommend it. Oh, crap. Banging my camera. I'm so sorry, you guys. Samurai Warriors Chronicles. I like, you know, a Dynasty Warriors game on the occasion, but this was not one I very much liked. Adventure Time. Hey Ice King, why'd you steal our garbage? And this is a really fun, really enjoyable game. It really captures the spirit of Adventure Time very well. Highly recommend it. It's a 2D Zelda 2 clone, which is really unique. Not enough of those in the world. River City, Tokyo Rumble. Really fun beat 'em up. Really enjoyable stuff. A good throwback to a classic franchise. Shifting World. It was okay. Bust-A-Move Universe. I really liked it, but, you know, it could have used some more modes and stuff. Not bad for a budget release. Mario Kart 7. Fantastic game. I love me some Mario Kart 7. Kirby Triple Deluxe. I think this is actually my favorite Kirby game, or at least the one I like the most. Yeah, just a really fun Kirby game. Star Fox 64 3D. This game is awesome. Incredible remake of a fantastic game. And then Tales of the Abyss. Really great port of this PS2 RPG that I really enjoy. I really like me some Tales of the Abyss. It's not my favorite game in the Tales series. My favorite Tales game is, you know, Vesperia. I'm a basic guy. But I really enjoy this game, though. And lastly, Ocarina of Time 3D. So this is actually my favorite 3DS game if I'm being, like, you know, if I'm picking one. But this is also, you know, just a remake of Ocarina of Time. So, you know, it's weird to call this my favorite 3DS game because it's not, like, exclusive to the system or anything. But, you know, Ocarina of Time, just a really special, incredible game. I absolutely love it. I played through this game this year, actually, and I still just head over heels in love with it. Alright, so that's my 3DS collection. I'm pushing 120 games at this point, but, you know, if you guys see any games I'm missing or anything like that, let me know in the comments down below. You know, like the video, all comment, subscribe, all that big YouTuber energy stuff, and, you know, have a wonderful day, you guys, and peace.